Minnesota was promised to the Somalis 3,000 years ago, and I got proof. In this video alone, I'm going to show you the evidence as to why Minnesota is their native land. So as we should all know by now, some of the first early settlers of Minnesota were actually Somali explorers. They came to Minnesota and actually set up one of the first early civilizations. And as you can see here, this is a picture of the Somali founding fathers of Minnesota. Even this guy here, he's still Somali, he's just half Yemeni. And as well, we can quite clearly see the Somali flag waving in the background. And as
Greetings and welcome to Auntie Yami channel. How are you? How are you doing? Merry Christmas to all those who are celebrating Christmas today, the birth of Jesus Christ. For those who are not celebrating, happy holidays. As you know, we've just started these festive holidays, but all the same, we are all celebrating like Auntie Yami. Recently, social media has exploded with controversy after claims surfaced suggesting that Minnesota was somehow promised to Somalians 1,000, or I may say 3,000 years ago before Christ. This statement has angered many Americans and sparked heated debates online. As usual, it's always online. So, where did it come from? And why has it caused such a strong reaction? Let's listen to some videos and hear what both parties are saying about these claims. After we finish listening to these videos, we will break it down calmly, functionally, and without hate. So don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share.
Somalis were not exclusively promised the state of Minnesota. This is the warped reading of the Bible that started about 100 years ago with the Schofield Bible. The Genesis says in one place that Minneapolis, not even the whole state of Minnesota, but that the descendants of Abraham, which includes the Somalis, the Cushitic, the Semitic, all the peoples, basically the entire Midwest, will inhabit that area, and they do. That is not an exclusive right of the Somali people to exclude everybody. It's just that they can also live there, which they do. It does not say he who blesses Somalis will be blessed. It says Abraham, which includes the Somalis, includes the Arabs, includes the children of Judah. It's not exclusive to the Somalis, but there is a Somalianist narrative that distorts what it actually says. In the book of Jeremiah chapter 3, God actually divorces his promise from the Somali people. It is not an eternal promise, it is a conditional promise that Somali people can have Minneapolis so long as they worship him alone. It says it right there in Jeremiah chapter 3. And it is an absolute total fabrication that the Somalis all gathering in Minneapolis or throughout the whole state of Minnesota, if you're really crazy, that this is part of the prophecies of Revelation. It is not in there at all. The only time in Revelation where the Somalis are mentioned, twice, they are among multitudes of every nations on earth. So it is absolutely clear that Somalis do not exclusively inhabit Minnesota or Minneapolis. This is a false reading of the Bible that's kind of centered around the Schofield Bible, but was kind of adopted by the West, particularly by England, to basically promote a foreign policy. And Minnesota isn't even the only democracy in the Midwest. Michigan has a crude but functional democracy. They have elections where you can choose between one of the two ruling.
The state of Minnesota is the home of the Somali people, in which it fulfills its natural, cultural, religious, and historical right to self-determination.
Minnesota was promised to the Somalis 3,000 years ago, and I got proof. In this video alone, I'm going to show you the evidence as to why Minnesota is their native land. So as we should all know by now, some of the first early settlers of Minnesota were actually Somali explorers. They came to Minnesota and actually set up one of the first early civilizations. And as you can see here, this is a picture of the Somali founding fathers of Minnesota. Even this guy here, he's still Somali, he's just half Yemeni. And as well, we can quite clearly see the Somali flag waving in the background. And as you can see from the old Minnesota flag, it is very, very similar to the Somali flag. They got similar color schemes, they just covered the star up. But in the year 2024, they actually changed the Minnesota flag to resemble more of a Somali flag. Reason being, they were scared of losing the history and the culture of Minnesota. And the new flag was actually designed by a non-Somali called Andrew Pekuri. However, that being said, this man most likely does have Somali ancestry. Because as we know, some of the most famous Minnesotans ever actually do seem to have a mix of Somali admixture within their DNA, which actually isn't too far-fetched considering the fact that they've been here for so long. And that was promised to them 3,000 years ago. And if you disagree, then you're anti-Kasheti.
My Somali in Minnesota. You make someone really angry, eh? But by the way, don't go anywhere, and I don't want any Karen in the comment section saying go back to your country, because no, Karen. If your country was not involved into their policies, Somali people would just gladly stay in Somalia. It's a beautiful country, it's a rich country, and maybe that's the reason why your country gets involved into their policies. So in their politics, and keep trying, to steal the resources of that country. So at the end of the day, they are like, no guys, we don't want you to steal our resources, so back off. And someone gets really angry to that, They understood the same story is repeating, always trying to steal the resources, and they say, no more, halas, finish, end. So all the Karens in the comment section, don't get me started, because I will be really angry with you. Don't even start like, Somalia is a failed state, go back to your country, all these kind of comments, because I'm really, really annoyed and over these comments, because you guys have been brainwashed since forever. Really, since forever, because Somalia is a rich state, and I have to say, like, all the people, all the communities, Muslim communities around the world, we should copy what they are doing, the Somali brothers and sisters are doing in Minneapolis or Minnesota. Because they understood something. They have business mind, and they apply it wherever they go. So we have to copy that. We have to be united like them, and don't get anyone into your way, guys. We really have, from my heart, we really have to copy and paste the same approach everywhere we go. We have to be united.
I'm in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I'm standing outside a bar. This bar opened in 1906, Palmer's Bar, but this bar now is home to a new mosque here in Minnesota. As this is a Somalian community, and the Somalian community here, they complained about this bar. They said it was too loud, people were drinking alcohol, and it was just too loud to be in their community. So the state leaders of Minnesota bowed down to the Somalians and are turning this bar into a mosque. This was a staple of this community. The University of Minnesota is just right around the corner. College students used to come here and hang out, but no longer is this going to be happening. This is just another example of how our government leaders are bowing down to people who come into America, people who are not Americans, don't assimilate. They want these cities to become just like their cities in Africa, just like in Somalia. So this bar is no longer here. It's going to be a mosque here in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And this is just one of the things that are happening here in Minnesota. Mosques are popping up everywhere, and massive fraud is going on in this state, in this city, because Governor Tim Walz, he bows down to these type of people. Let me know your thoughts on.
So let's break it down with the information I've gathered. Is it true about these claims? Anyway, let's listen to other sources, because it might not be reliable, but you Somalians, you can even confirm about these claims. First, it's important to be clear. There is no historical, archaeological, or documented evidence that Somalia or any East African group had a presence in Minnesota 3,000 years ago. The claim mostly appears in online jokes. Is it a jokes, my brothers and sisters from Somalia? Or else satirical comments? Is it fringe social media posts? Unfortunately, social media often takes exaggerations and presents them as serious beliefs. This is what even Antiami is doing, because I came across these claims, then I had to also investigate so that I can get proof. You know, they are talking about the Bible, but you know, the Bible is sometimes the Bible talks about places which they use like the ancient names, but even me, I'm here to learn. Many Americans see the claim as offensive for several reasons. First, Minnesota has a well documented indigenous history. Native American tribes such as Dakota and Ojibwe lived on this land for thousands of years before European colonization. So when people hear claims of ancient promises to outsiders, they feel it erases Native American history, which has already been ignored by generation. Fears about sovereignty and entitlement. What are they? Let's subscribe, like, comment, and share. Another reason for the backlash is fear of entitlement. In the United States, land ownership and political rights come from citizenship, laws, treaties, not from ancient or religious claims. So when people hear statements like this land was promised to us, they worry it suggests ownership claims, special treatment, or rejection of American law. Even if unintentional, this language triggers strong reaction. Interrogation versus separation. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share as we listen to several videos before we proceed to the next statement about integration versus separation.
I am Minnesotan. I have been a Minnesotan pretty much my entire life. And never once, not once, not ever, has a Somalian made me feel like I'm in danger. I'm at risk. Never once have I felt like they're taking my jobs. Never once have I felt like my children are at risk. In fact, it's always been the complete opposite. They've been warm, they've been welcoming. They bring so much culture and wonderfulness to our community. We love our Somalian friends. We love our Somalian neighbors. We love the culture and the diversity and the food and the perspective that they bring to Minnesota. Everything that is being said about Somalian gangs and people being fearful is a lie. That is not true. I have lived in all different parts of the Twin Cities, including very heavily populated areas where Somalian people lived, and never once was it a Somalian person that made me feel in danger for my life. Somalian people are a part of Minnesota, and we love them here, just like we love all of our other neighbors.
We accept the president's words. They came from a place of anger and disappointment. I'm sure many Americans feel the same way.
The president was right to let loose his feelings. It shocked us into understanding the severity of the harm our people caused.
These criminals betrayed America's welcoming spirit. The scale of these crimes has stained the reputation of American Somalis.
America's freedoms allowed us to build a unique community here in Minnesota. In return, we must promise to weed out any evil living among us.
This evil came from within our community. And so, as an honorable community, we take responsibility. We must correct this wrongdoing.
The only way to regain the trust of this nation is to root out crime, stay humble, and be forever grateful. That's the premise.
So, as honorable Somalis, we are going to take on the responsibility of apologizing to all Americans. We are deeply, deeply sorry.
The shame of this will haunt us forever. And hopefully over time you will come to forgive us.
Can somebody please tell me what the hell the Somalians are talking about when they say that Minnesota was promised to them over 3,000 years ago? Because are they trolling, trying to be like in comparison to Israel, or are they being serious? And if they are being serious, may I please see the paperwork that granted you guys the state of Minnesota? Because while I'm not totally opposed to the rightful owner of Minnesota getting Minnesota itself, I definitely don't want you guys to have it, because you sort of robbed the state blind, and I don't think that you deserve it. So if you could just send me the paperwork, the scripture, the documentation that Minnesota belongs to you. Now, I did have somebody leave a picture in my comment section that was a picture of, like, I guess a Bible, I'm not sure, but it said that the verse came from Genesis 12:30. Unfortunately, there's no such thing as Genesis 12:30, so I do think that that document was not correct. So if anybody could just let me know what in the hell they're talking about, that would be great. Otherwise, I'm just going to assume it's the whole 68% IQ level thing and move on with my day.
Many Americans support immigration, but they also expect integration, not separation. When any group appears to claim a place and uniquely theirs, it creates fear of division rather than unity. This concern is not limited to Somalis. It applies to any immigrant group making similar claims. Important clarification about Somali Americans. It's very important to say this is clear. The vast majority of Somali Americans do not believe Minnesota was promised to them. Most Somali families work, pay tax, raise children, and contribute positively to society. A few viral clips, of course, do not represent an entire community. It's true, because you've heard a video I played about Somalis even apologizing. I think they were sheikhs, Somali sheikhs in America apologizing. Social media rewards outrage. Extreme statements spread faster than calm explanation. As a result, French voices appear mainstream. Communities get unfairly blamed, and tension grow unnecessarily. The benefits algorithms, not people. Thank you very much to all my subscribers, both returning and new subscribers. In conclusion, in the end, Americans are not angry, are they? Some of them. It's not all Americans who are angry about Somalians, because you've heard that lady saying that she's been living in Minnesota since she was even born there, but she's never had any issues with Somalians, and the community is peaceful. This is what that woman said. I played that video. So this is true. It's not everyone. And it's just something where a few group of people are busy circulating that might be to make Americans upset because of the statement from Trump. But at the end of the day, we heard the sheikhs saying that they are sorry. They'll try really hard to reduce crime. What are you saying, Somalians? Do you agree with this or disagree with this? Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. And these issues has no historical basis. These claims disrespects Indigenous history and threatens social unity. Understanding the facts help us avoid unnecessary hatred and focus on coexistence instead of conflict. Remember, this video is for educational and discussion purposes. Disclaimer, disclaimer, disclaimer. It does not promote hate, discrimination, or misinformation against any other group. That's a disclaimer. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. Thank you very much to all my subscribers, both returning and new subscribers. What do you think? Drop a comment and let me know what you think. Thank you very much for watching this video from the beginning to the end. And thank you very much for supporting your auntie each and every time. You know what? We need to sit here or to stand there and fight against hate. So thank you. Subscribe, like, comment, and share as you watch this video from the beginning until the end. For those who are celebrating Christmas, Merry Christmas, and everyone happy holidays. Thank you. Ciao, ciao. Bye. Mwah.
We gon' do it too for the culture, we gon' build villas. Do it in the name of content. We gon' sell our culture, we gon' call ourselves boss in a new continent. I'm a Ghana time soon. I'm a Kenya time soon. FBI, they watch me like big brother. FBI, they watch me like big brother. Yeah, we dey live like bosses, but we beg on the phone from abroad. Yeah, we dey live like bosses, but we scam the old women from abroad. We dey live like bosses, but we beg on the phone from abroad. Yeah, we dey live like bosses, but we scam the old women from abroad. I'm a Ghana time soon. I'm a Kenya time soon. FBI, they watch me like big brother. FBI, they watch me like